Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Louise Eddington, the Cosmic Owl Astrology. And before I dive into the week ahead forecast, I want to say, holy wow, what a moment we are in collectively. And I want to acknowledge that for many people, it's very challenging. And I hope that the forecast will help to give you more guidance. But I also really want to just mention a couple of changes that I've been making due to how I'm working with the energies. And I have opened up YouTube memberships. You can see them probably below. The first time I've done them, there's just two levels. There's kind of a fun level, just if you want to support my videos, that's $2.99 a month. For $6.99 a month, I will be offering at this point a once a month, first Thursday afternoon, ask me anything or almost anything call on Zoom. And that is also going to paid subscribers who pay $7 a month. I couldn't adjust them to be exactly the same, but I hope you're not all too worried about a penny. But anyway, so I want to grow kind of this community bigger and bigger. And I was like, how can I do this? My words on Substack and my free videos publicly like this just feel like they really want to be shared to just for free, everything. And so obviously I need to earn some money, but I also want to draw in more community. So if you feel so inclined, you can either subscribe as a paid subscriber on Substack or on YouTube for $6.99 or $7 exactly, and you will get invited to the calls. Now, as that grows, I'm going to be adding other things. I will do, some live streams to YouTube subscribers that will also get shared to Substack subscribers. And I have a private membership community on my website called The Nest, and that has once a week calls, and that's more a collaborative thing. And we're also kind of doing some business mentorship there, not just for astrologers, but for people who want to do integrative practices of how they work with people. Like I bring in the numbers and I bring in the tarot and I bring in lots of other things. Anyway, that's $35 a month, and that is on my website. That's the Nest. That's my kind of hub of all that I do. But if you just want the light touch, then the YouTube memberships or the Substack paid subscribers membership is for you. Now onwards, but also don't forget, please, to subscribe, give a thumbs up, leave me a comment. And I really feel personally, I don't know about you, as if we are in two worlds at the moment. Like in my Venus retrograde heroine's journey class, we're more than halfway through and people are just soul blown. And so am I, to be quite honest, by what's emerging. Funnily enough, I chose that as my word of the year, emergence, and I have to publish a blog post on that. But anyway, I wrote it. All these magical things are happening within me whilst all this stuff is going on in the outside world. Now, I'm going to upload this right away, but if you're watching afterwards, Kathy and I are also going to discuss some things that are coming up as opposed to the world out there, the politics, when we record today. But this is just for you. The week ahead, let's have a look at the aspects. And again, what a week. What a week. Let me get my list of aspects up. I do want to show you where we start for the week. So as you can see, the nodes are still at 27 degrees. They stay at the same degree. I use the true calculation. They stay at that degree through the eclipse season, whereas normally the true calculation of the nodes kind of oscillates back and forth. But also the mean calculation of the nodes is at that degree right now, or it was last time I looked. I'm not going to go and look now. Now, also, at the start of this week, Venus and Mercury and have both moved back into Pisces to finish their retrogrades. They are both more than halfway through their retrogrades. Neptune is at the very last minute of the zodiac where Mercury met it. So we've had some soul blowing energies right now. We've just had the eclipse, or as we start the week on the 30th. The eclipse is early on the 29th in this time zone, and that's a new moon solar eclipse. I've done videos on all of that. So we're moving beyond this big fulcrum tipping point. Also, the moon is still going to be going way out of bounds twice a month, but it's been at its most extreme point of the 18.6-year lunar maximum, and that was on the same day as the Venus star point, March the 22nd. So everything is kind of shifting now. Does that mean everything's going to be magically wonderful? No, I think we're still in this time that things are collapsing and being reborn collectively in many ways. And don't get too tied up with collapsing because I do believe it's going to be absolutely fine. It's more of in shamanic practices, we do what's called a dismemberment, shamanic dismemberment, where all our molecules are dismembered. I'm calling it a dissolution, actually, with it all in Pisces. Everything's kind of dissolved, and then everything's kind of put back together, magically renewed. But this is a big dissolution and resolution, right? So anyway, there's a lot going on. So let's dive into the week ahead. I can't talk about it all in one video, so I keep trying to, but too much. Anyway, we start the week on the 30th. I'm just going to my list of aspects. And early in the morning, well, the moon is in Aries. We're just under that new moon eclipse, the solar eclipse, and the moon is moving on, but we're still in the no moon phase. The light has not begun to return. And so that's where we start the week. And the first major aspects of the day, and I am going to move the chart around a little bit. So hopefully, you'll get a transcript as well. And somebody asked me about, I thought you could turn on. I don't know if I can turn on closed captioning when I'm recording Zoom on my own. Somebody asked about it. I actually cannot see how to do that. Let me have a look if oh, maybe I can. Maybe I have to do it as a transcript. Okay, well, let's see how that goes. I am, doing this as we emerge into this new time. Technology keeps changing as well during all this time. All the tools I use keep changing. But anyway, back to where we are. So the moon, we start the week ahead, starting March the 30th with the moon in Aries. And then the first major aspect, all times Eastern, of course, is moon will come up and conjunct Chiron. Okay, so you can see this over here in Aries at 22 degrees, incidentally, which is a master builder number. It's one of the master numbers, new beginnings. Chiron is moving forward. It was hovering around the 19-degree mark through most of last year, and through the journey of the nodes through Aries and Libra. But now Chiron is moving on, healing the divine masculine, but within all of us, and that energy of power over. Thanks to Heather Ensworth for I don't know if she came up with it, but I'll credit her anyway. So we are stepping into power from within rather than power over collectively. All right. So the moon will conjunct Chiron, emphasizing that as we're under the new moon and moving out of this, then the moon will immediately square the guide, Aries guide, Mars in Cancer, who is still retracing the steps from the retrograde that Mars went from 6 Leo to 17 Cancer. And so this is in the sign of the moon. So Mars is also being reborn, right, in many ways. Then we have Neptune. Oh God, it's another big week. And it is a lot, and it is soul blowing. So I do want to acknowledge this, and kind of a lot of the energy that I want to kind of speak to about how you might be feeling will be summed up at the end. Neptune will move into Aries then, 7:57 a.m. Just 4-5 hours after the moon makes all those aspects, and the moon has moved on to 24 Aries. So you can see that. And then, where is she? Where's the moon? There we go. At almost the same time as Neptune moves into the sign of Aries for the first time in about 160 years, certainly in our lifetime, okay? The moon will conjunct Eris, the table shaker, the revealer of artifice, the revealer of the vanity of the bonfires, if you like, let's call it, okay? And, you know, I think with all the gaslighting that we've had going on from the oligarchs, from the power over people who are trying to make this massive power grab collectively, Neptune moving into Aries is going to bring even more clarity suddenly, and people are going to go, oh, no, we don't like this. We are all in this together. I still maintain the future is bright, but we have to see what's going on with this small, in the terms of the total population, into what's going on with all of these oligarchs or autocrats or whatever you want to call them, the people with the money. And Venus rules money generally, and she is back in Pisces saying, clear out, see this, see where they have been pulling the wool over our eyes in many ways. And of course, remember that it's also impacting them as well, though, and they still really want to hang on to the power over. We all embody the energy in our own way, and a lot of people are waking up to this shift in consciousness, and more will. All right. Okay, so later in the day, the moon will move into Taurus, and that's kind of a big sigh, I always think, especially with all of this energy in Pisces and Aries right now. So 4:45 p.m. Eastern, the moon will move into rooted Taurus, and things will begin to settle down a little bit. All right, we'll begin to go, wow, my God, this has just been crazy. There's still more craziness to come, but having a moon in Taurus invites you to really get grounded, really get solid in your values, and know that you can be the tree, let's say. Taurus rules nature and the earth in many ways, and it's saying stay rooted. You know, think of a good, solid, well-rooted tree. You might sway a little bit from all this chaos going on in the world, but your roots will keep you solid. Okay. Then I am going to talk more about moon aspects this week, because the similar degrees and major aspects are just being aspected over and over again. So I'm going to take you to Moon square Pluto, and that's at 3 Taurus. And just before that, the moon opposes Haumea, who is now at almost exactly the same degree as the Venus star point that was on March 22nd at 2:39 Aries. And these are both Mars guided signs, Scorpio and Aries. Okay, so all these degrees are just going crazy. And Haumea is birthing. She is a creatrix. She was the creator goddess of the Hawaiian pantheon. She gave birth from every part of her body, and then she could regenerate as well. So she's about regeneration. And, you know, in the myths, she was said to have given birth to all the volcanoes and Pele and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, anybody that's actually, you know, physically given birth knows that birthing is not always clean and easy. It can be a bit messy, but we are rebirthing. I've talked about Haumea and Pluto being in this um, 2022 to 2028 ongoing square to Aquarius, and Pluto is death and rebirth in so many ways. And we are now past the midpoint of their 13 squares as well. But all that to say, in this moment, in this big portal of change that we are in, the moon activates that square and in Taurus and invites you again to root into your own inner personal transformation that is going to come out and into what we are co-creating now. Okay, all that to say all that. Oh gosh, what a wild time. Okay, on to the 31st. Oh my goodness. And why did I want to look at them? Oh yes. So on the 31st, the moon is coming up. The Taurus moon. See, this is why some more stuff has got to get public, because some of these asteroids and things are really in play, and I just think this, you know, a bigger audience needs to hear all of this. Okay, so anyway, on the 31st, Monday, the moon day, the moon comes up and opposes asteroid Hecate, the crossroads goddess, the way shower, and conjunct Hygeia, who is holistic health in many ways and creating holistic health. And she is in more the sign of the body. Remember, we're in Taurus, getting rooted in your mind, body, spirit. And this is coming from a place of deep magic and empowerment and soul growth. Okay, from a really deep place in Scorpio. So again, the healing is really coming from the inside out. I've used that phrase so many times, or intimacy from the inside out, to quote internal family systems or parts work, which is all about becoming intimate with all the parts of you as you step into your personal power. Okay, because really, you know, nothing's going to come and save us. This is us. We have to rise up and in our own lane, in our own way. We all play a different part. I've said that many times as well. Okay. One of my friends on Facebook wrote an amazing post about that this morning. He's also got an amazing way of words, and I'm actually going to read a little bit about it. So he talked about the elements, and he said he likens the current apparent leader that we are under in the USA, but I'm going to say this applies also to the energy of the power over people. So in medical terms, that's called a choleric nature, which corresponds to fire, which is Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. And he says when fire goes out of balance, we have too much heat, too much dryness, which creates separation rather than connection, irritation, sudden bursts of anger, aggression, war, madness, bounce, all those things. And he said, you know, he said, I do want to acknowledge that it must be people who indeed fight with fire, but also be mindful you may not be the person to fight fire with fire. We are all of different elemental natures in many ways. He says many would do well to offer massage sessions to those who are fighting over allowing themselves to become infuriated. Others could do well to divest their material support if they're able. Others can be of service by promoting conversation and dispersing information that helps, and people learn, and that helps people learn how to think over what they should think in order to enhance critical thinking skills. And you get the idea. So when he says, when we throw aside basic understanding of nature and our personal nature, we further disharmonious states of being. Okay. So in other words, everybody has their lane, if you want to kind of condense it like that. Okay. But this is not just this country. This is those that we really want to are rising up. We can have to move into the energy of our own nature, which is contained within your individual chart. All right, I'm going way off here, but I just feel like this needs to be known at this massive turning point in this history. All right, back to Monday. We've only gone a little bit, and I don't want this to be stupidly long, but so much to say. Anyway, so we're in Moon in Taurus. Yes, we're on the 31st, and we've only gone a little bit into that. Okay, later on into, and I'm just going to read the aspects here. So yes, the moon does this opposition, then the moon will exactly conjunct Hygeia, but the moon is also, at that point, going to form a T-square. So we've got all these goddess energies, for want of a better word, or the asteroids, or the divine feminine. There's all these kind of words that we kind of get a bit stuck in. Am I? Let's hope I'm on my drawing thing here. We've got these at 13, which is the number of the goddess, by the way, and that's the number the way shower Hecate stationed retrograde at, and the moon will hit 13, and this is forming a fixed T-square. So really this is the energy of the divine feminine rising up into her empowerment to come to that power from within in so many ways as we rebirth something. This is not just about women at all. Please don't say that. It will be a lot of women though, but we have Pallas Athena, Justice Warrior here, conjunct asteroid Lilith, which is the only physical embodiment of the Liliths, and that is kind of the talk to the hand Lilith, rebellious teenager, as if to say, no, not on my watch. And this is the divine feminine going, no, we are not letting you kind of do this big power grab. We are moving forward in the way we are going to co-create this future together, or co-remember this future together, because we are remembering what it is like to be interconnected, not separated. Back to that choleric thing. Okay. But all of this really is happening together. But I would also invite you to notice patterns of degrees. All right. So at this point, Ceres, which is the Great Mother, who my book is finally getting written, is kind of in there. She's bringing both some grief but also some forgiveness, which means also self-forgiveness and grief for maybe I should have done this or this should have happened. It's time to let go of all of that. For one example is, if this hadn't happened, Bernie Sanders would have been president, and I was a national delegate in 2016. I really wanted him to be president, but people are going, well, if this hadn't happened, then we wouldn't be where we are now. Well, I think we were kind of meant to be where we are now at this point. So, but the good thing is he did run for president, and his message got out there, and now he's out there with AOC, spreading this message of we're just in this together. We are all in this together. That's their basic message, right? So let go of these past ideas, past preconceptions, grudges, if you like, as well, and move forward, because we are in this time really to move forward in so many ways. And that applies to your life too. It's time to let go of a lot of old grudges. That doesn't mean if somebody was physically abusive and emotionally abusive to you, that you have to kind of let them into your life, but you kind of have to, it's an invitation, I should say, to let go of how they impacted you, let go of that holding on to it in yourself, right? Okay, so yes, let's move on again. Oh my goodness, I could just, everything's just, whoa. All right, so then I'm again not going to kind of get the aspect for this. The moon will also oppose Vesta, your inner flame, emphasizing the message that this is you stepping into that power from energy to counter the power over energy, all right, or to douse its flame. Okay, let's call it that way. And then the other aspect that will happen on March the 31st is that the sun comes up to 11 Aries and squares off to Pholus, which is kind of the tower moment energy at 11 degrees, which is a double one, which is a gateway to change for all that's being revealed about all these traumas and about all these kinds of abuses and things from within and from without. It's time to move forward in initiating signs. Lots more I could say about that, but I can't cover everything in this. Now then, Venus. Oh, what a journey this has been for the Venus retrograde, because it's encompassing everything else. But on April the 1st, Venus moves further back into the sign of Pisces, and she conjuncts the North Node. And I want to bring back in the galactic center, because she is square to the galactic center, and so is the nodes. They've been square to the galactic center this whole time. And remember, this is her second journey over this point. And in her retrograde, she will come back over this at some one point. Look at this as well. Mercury is about to conjunct this, and all of this is square this galactic center, which is bringing in streams of new consciousness, streams of new knowledge, streams of new understanding. But also Sagittarius is the archer firing arrows into the future. This is bringing in visionary energy of visioning what we want to do and how we want to be in the future and how we want to be all connected. So the changes, the shifts that are experiencing in people, and some people are, their precognition has either developed or it's expanding. This is going to continue, so it could be precognition. There's always of working with this. Could be creativity. Remember, we all have our lane. Okay, but this is huge again. This because the North Node is what we are being drawn towards as well, of remembering that we are all interconnected. Now, I do want to acknowledge that we live in Muggle world, and this can also bring some more confusion, but also some more getting comfortable in this chaos and learning to go with the flow and not getting too and it's an invitation as well to not get too overwhelmed and stressed by the chaos out there, because things are chrysalising and we are in this mush of unfolding. So, okay. And just is stepping into that place of trust as well. That's a good Piscean word. Okay. And then right after that, oh gosh, the moon will conjunct Uranus. Okay. And I'm mentioning these because things are converging. Everything is converging at a different level than we've been under as we emerge from all of this. So Uranus is now at 24 degrees of Taurus and is about to make its first sextile with Saturn. Because Saturn has been in Pisces for some time. Saturn went retrograde, and Uranus went retrograde. I don't think they had a sextile before. Bear with me. because I think this is an important aspect, and a sextile is an opportunity of adjustment, okay, or an opportunity to change, sorry, not it's an opportunity aspect. So they have not been in a sextile since Uranus was in Aquarius and Saturn was in Aries. So these degrees are being activated again, and that was in 1997. So let's move us forward and to April the 4th, but I'll go back to April the 1st in a minute. They're going to hit their first sextile, but this is at 24 degrees in different signs. Saturn has been saying let go, or a lot of the structures we live under have been dissolving. Remember, we're in dissolution, and we are going to resolve that, resolution or resolution. And Uranus is kind of the break free. It's also the kind of benevolent rebel. It's also awakening. So we're experiencing all of that. Okay. But it's in different signs, and this is going to move us forward into some of the bigger changes that we have going on as we emerge from this time. So to go back to Moon Taurus, that's activating that. Okay, so I don't, if you notice, the exact sextile is coming up on April the 4th. So none of this is happening in isolation. But this is also the degree, 24 degrees Pisces, where Venus is going to station direct. So another hot, hot, hot degree. Over and over and over, all this is happening. All right, so then later on April the 1st, the Venus will actually officially square the galactic center, but that's all happening at the same time. And then the vibe will shift emotionally again, because later that day the moon will enter Gemini and things will get a little bit more chaotic again. We'll move towards another moon going out of bounds on April the 1st, and things will start to feel a little bit more chaotic again. The moon is now, so the sun, so we've well got the light, we're heading towards the first quarter moon, and but because of what we've learned in this, at one point I called it like we're in this really massive kind of no or dark moon period, dark night of the soul, whatever you want to call it, where we've been exploring what's happening within, but also kind of seeing what's happening without as well. And so this dark moon phase is also a seeding place of the change that's coming. Well, now the moon is about a sign and a half away from the sun and is beginning to take action. Okay, so we're moving forward. Okay, let me pull that up. Okay, on to April the 2nd, finally. And the moon will hit Jupiter on April the 2nd. So here we go. Moon will hit Jupiter on Wednesday, April the 2nd. Incidentally, on Mercury's day, and Mercury is the guide for Gemini. So, and you can also see that Mercury is at the same degree again, where we kind of talked at the start, 27 degrees. Now, this is significant because Jupiter, you can see it, is now moving fast. Jupiter's retrograde was all part of this big shift as well. And Jupiter is traveling back towards the point where Jupiter stationed retrograde at 21 Gemini. And so we'll begin to start to feel the shift and the change in consciousness and awareness and our ideas and our perceptions, and it's also expansion. Okay, so this is both increasing the chaos but also this expansion, and it is unsettling and unnerving, but it's also magical if you are able to step into this big shift in consciousness that we are experiencing and not sit in the fear of what's happening in the outer world, because this is all coming from the inside out again. And this is why I keep trying to at least encourage you to, to not get too tied up, and because half the things are not coming to fruition and they're being fought, and in some ways, as I'm going to talk about with Cassie, this had to happen, okay, in the world before we can move into the next phase of humanity on this earth. And well, yeah, you'll see at the cards at the end, I do acknowledge there is some suffering, and there will be. Some people are not woken up, but also there's some what some people would call collateral damage. I wish there weren't, but in times of big chaos and change, there is always the shadow coming to light as well. Anyway, on to April the 3rd. So the moon is still in Gemini. Now, which one shall I move it to? Let me move them. So this is really all happening together. So first, the moon will square Venus. Venus will square Venus, who has moved back to 26 degrees Gemini, but then we'll square the nodes at 27 Gemini still. And sorry, 27 Pisces, Virgo still at the eclipse degrees. So we're not moving beyond that yet. The real what's emerging from this eclipse and all this energy is not really happening yet. You can see it's starting to happen, all right, but you have to kind of be aware of it, and you can feel it happening within you. But then, so just 16 minutes after the moon squares the nodes, remember they are the moon's nodes as well, and we're coming out of the eclipse. The moon will also square Mercury, which is Gemini's guide, but then the moon also opposes the galactic center. So look at this. We have this mutable grand cross again, which I did a whole video on, and this is about, we're our awareness of how we could live by eternal principles and the natural laws of the zodiac, and changing our perceptions about how we do that is just happening over and over again. This is another big activation of it again on Thursday, and it's in Jupiter's day actually, and the moon's just been conjunct Jupiter. None of this I've never witnessed anything like this, and I know I'm getting right in the weeds, but it's just so big. And then the moon is out of bounds again by now, of course, as well, and the moon will move into her own sign of Cancer at 6:50 p.m. on April the 3rd, and then we'll immediately square Neptune, which just moved into Aries, and this is cardinal signs, and this is at the 0 points, which are world points. This is the point of creation. So this is going to start pushing us to start doing or co-remembering, co-creating the new that we want to see in the world. Okay. Oof, gosh. I'm exhausted just looking at the energies, but I'm loving it. It's just, I acknowledge again that it's hard for some people. On to Friday, Venus Day. And on that day, Mercury will conjunct the North Node as well for the second of 3 times. And you can still see that we've got this T-square to the nodes, the galactic center, that's really all happening together. So this is mind and body and relationships and feelings and all the things. Everything is being shifted, right? But this is just how it's continuing throughout the week. Okay, so you get that one. But this is consciousness as well, and ideas just going pow. I'm new awarenesses, new like ping, 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 ping. And then on April the 4th, we have the exact sextile between the first exact sextile, the only one I think between Saturn, but I'm just going to talk about a little bit of a bigger picture. So, Saturn sextile Saturn, that can't happen. Okay, so on April the 4th, so, we feel this building all week because the moon activated it earlier in the week, as I showed you. And Venus is coming up to station direct conjunct Saturn. Mercury will station direct at 25 Pisces, and you can see how Saturn is at 2455 Pisces and will move to the 25-degree mark soon. So we'll see that as we move forward. And because Saturn is moving fast now. So here, anyway, Saturn is going to sextile Uranus. But this, as another bigger cycle, is activating what is coming as we get this grand trine between Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune. It's separated a little bit now, but it's still in orb because it's huge. And this is an aspect that has been ongoing for a while and is really going to build and perfect next year. Pluto moved into Aquarius. Neptune has dipped into Aries, will come back out for about 3 months later this year and then move finally back into Aries. Uranus will head into Gemini, and this has never happened before in history. But this is pushing us towards this radical change. Now, Saturn and Uranus. Saturn is boundaries, Uranus is breaking the boundaries. So you can see not only are we having all rules broken in some ways this is all happening inside us as well, that we are breaking the boundaries of our perception and belief and faith and who we think we are as humans and all those kind of things. Again, could it even though it's an opportunity aspect, but this is really an opportunity to aspect to root in body values, and which is Taurus, and your connection with each other, the collective consciousness, source, whatever you want to call it. Okay, such big changes happening still on April the 4th, and I'm not going to move the chart again because also at 24 degrees, so let me draw the little pattern between those. Mars again, Mars, Saturn are in trine to each other, and this is making another mini grand trine of driving us forward towards taking action, towards doing action differently. All the things I've talked about embodied in who we are at our soul level. All right, this is massive. Again, everything's massive right now. I'm like, can you stop? No, it's not going to stop yet. So just, I know a lot of people are tired. All this energy at the end of Pisces can be extremely tiring, by the way. But you've got this. Step into your Aries I am energy and your Taurus rooted energy. Be the tree. Take action, aligned action. Step into who you are. All of those things. But also do your self-care so that you've got the energy to do this. And the stay in your lane energy as well. Do what your part is. Okay, so then later on Venus Day, Friday, April the 4th, we have the first quarter moon, 15 Cancer, and 15 Aries. The sun is still in Aries. 15 is always a turning point. It's the middle degree of the signs. And now we are moving to a real action phase in cardinal signs. You will see people stepping up and realizing they can all do only what they want to do. The real change is going to start to emerge from all of this. But there's more to come. Big picture, things will start to settle down next year. I don't see the administration happening. Kathy and I will continue to look at both the bigger picture and what's happening now. and showing you how this change is evolving and emerging, back to that word. But you'll see when we do the video today, I'm going to say by the 2030s, early 2030s, there'll be new systems, new constitutions, new alliances, but it's all going to work more organically together because we're realizing we cannot do this anymore. We, the people, are. Anyway, so I'm off again. Anyway, so on to Saturday. First quarter moon crisis in action phase. But then, if you remember, we started with the moon conjuncting Chiron on the first day, on the Sunday of this week. The moon comes up and squares Chiron. So this is building on this. And this is the master builder number, right? And the moon is coming up to Mars saying act in a different way, take action in the way that is comfortable for you. Okay, like he said, my friend, some of us need to fight fire with fire, and some of us need to play these other roles. Okay, and then the moon will square Eris as well. Oh, another 24 degrees, right? By the way, 2 + 4 is 6, which is the great mother number. We are stepping into a new paradigm in so many ways. And then the moon will, I'm not even going to get the aspects exact because it's just wild. But when the moon comes up and conjuncts Mars, it will have sextiled opportunity aspect Uranus. It will trine Saturn as just before, because now Saturn has just moved to the 25th degree, right? Crazy times. And the moon will trine Venus. They're both at the 25th degree now. Again, pushing forward for huge change, for co-remembering and co-creating this future by what we are. And it's in response to, we go, no, this is not going to happen. This power grab is not going to happen. Okay. It's just not, we're not going to do this. Then the moon will, of course, trine Mercury, and then will trine the north node and sextile the south node, which have now, look, we've started to move away from the eclipses because the nodes have moved off the degree they were sat at on right through eclipse period. And so the change is going to start emerging faster and faster and faster. Jupiter's moving fast. Mars is now moving fast. Mars not moving fast yet. So more change to come. Uranus is moving fast because we had a Uranus retrograde. Neptune's moving fast. Pluto's moving fast. Saturn's moving fast. Change is coming faster and faster and faster. It's breathtaking, and everything is happening within and without to every one of us. April the 5th. Let me see if I missed anything. Well, that's Saturday, but let's take you into early Sunday morning just to kind of finish the week. So I'll take you to moon opposing Pluto, because we had the moon square Pluto earlier in the week. And you can see that these activations are happening over and over, but we're moving towards the full moon out of eclipse season. Okay, so the moon moves into the sign of Leo to yeah, that's right. Okay, so yeah, the moon moves into the sign of Leo late on April the 5th, and will sextile Jupiter, and is moving fast, big change, stepping into that creative energy. All right, so, and then the moon will oppose Pluto. Now we do have a Mars-Pluto opposition coming back up when Mars moves back into that. That will be the 3rd. A lot of people are worried about that. I'm not. You will start to feel what that might bring at this point, because the moon will activate it. And I think this is the people rising up because they see this power grab of the oligarchs. and they see how it's emerged. So anyway, we'll look at that aspect later. But then, so that's at 5:18 a.m. Oh, for my time, 7:18 a.m. Eastern. Why are they off? Anyway, and it doesn't really matter. They're big aspects. So you can see the time on here. This is kind of bringing, because now we're in the real action phase just before we head towards the full moon in Libra, and this is kind of revealing more of the shadow, so we can change it. And then Venus, I'll leave you with this aspect because it's early in the morning. So Venus is going to trine Mars, and I will actually spend a minute here. Then I've got 3 cards. Mars will trine Venus on April the 6th, 8:13 a.m. next Sunday. I'll probably briefly look at this again in next week's forecast. But Venus, you can see, is coming closer to Saturn. She's also a degree away from her station direct, and she trines Mars in Cancer. This is they are the archetypal divine masculine, divine feminine. So I'm going to take you back. Venus trined Mars when she was just before she went retrograde, before she'd moved into Aries, at that master builder number at 22 Pisces. Mars was then retrograde. Okay. And now we trine each other again. So Mars and Venus trine each other. Now she's retrograde and he is direct. And we will have one more to come on May the 22nd. And Venus will be back in Aries and Mars will be back in Leo then. And this is at another world point 15 of fixed signs, bringing more change, but then manifesting it and making it real. But this one is the middle trine, and that's an unbroken flow aspect. This is in water like the first one was, so this is releasing again, but also bringing people together. And we see it happening over and over. If you're watching, that is, and I hope you are. Okay. Cards, yes. I know this is long and I'm sorry, but there's so much happening. And I hope this is how I put the closed caption on now. I don't know if it is. Temperance. So I am unity is the first card for the week. Red Threads Tarot, again, weaving this new future. Temperance is I am unity, really. And I'll read you this quote. If a union is to take place between opposites like spirit and matter, conscious and unconscious, bright and dark, and so on, it will happen in a third thing, which represents not a compromise, but something new. Jung said that, apparently. So, but this is really about, how this is happening with, well, you are becoming new. We are all being reborn, basically. So all these opposites are converging within you to be reborn into something new. And so this is about coming into that middle path more. But it's also about holding the tension between 2 opposing forces within us. And it's a third way that unites and transcends these opposites that you might feel pulling. All right, if that makes sense. I think it will, because whatever you are meant to hear, you will hear. Then we do have some challenges this week because it's a lot. Okay, so this is I Am Grief. If you remember, series was involved, then there may be some grief come up, and I want you to acknowledge it and say it's okay to grieve what was. To go back to my analogy about, the people kind of going, oh, if this hadn't happened, Bernie would have been president and things. It's gone. It's the past. We can't change this, but this will be happening to things in your life that you cannot change. and it's okay to feel the grief over it. So this card, the quote with this one, it says, well, there's a Charles Dickens quote, "We need never be ashamed of our tears." Charles Dickens. This one from Brian Jacques is, "Don't be ashamed to weep. 'Tis right to grieve. Tears are only water, and flowers, trees, and fruit cannot grow without water. But there must be sunlight also. A wounded heart will heal in time, and when it does, the memory and love of our lost ones is sealed inside to comfort us." Okay. And then the last card for the week is, this is "I am suffering." And again, some will suffer, and you may feel this sense of suffering. I'm going to liken this as well to, suffering. You may feel this sense of victimhood because, it's a lot. And I don't mean that in a horrible way. I just mean like the victim of circumstances, like why did one of mine that comes up now and again is, why did I end up having to move here at this time when all this is happening? But anyway, so a quote from Maya Angelou for this: "I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it." That's Maya Angelou. And also, we must accept finite disappointment, but we must never lose infinite hope. By the way, that's very Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, by the way. That was MLK Jr. So there's a lot of disappointment and a lot of grief and a lot of loss. And people are going, this sense of, this is horrible, this is too much, I'm tired, I want it to stop, things like that. And the soul journey in these cards is, a crisis situation may have erupted around you. Suffering, fear, worry, loss, and grief may be raining down on you. It's possible that a collapse of structure in your life or your inner life too. So don't always think that means that everything's going to fall apart. It is in some ways dissolving and resolving, but it doesn't mean that every structure will collapse or that the whole world's going to collapse. It's just a restructuring in many ways, okay, and a resolving. Anyway, it says, "Seek and accept support, for we all need help in unstable times. It may seem that despair may be laying heavily on your heart. There is sadness here. The darkness that has fallen means that you have to somehow deal with the situation and possible outcome, and this is not easy. The stress and insecurity that is involved may feel traumatic. Once again, look after yourself, but allow others to care for you too. Eat, sleep, and try to do something normal that will remind you that life really goes on. This situation may be difficult to navigate, as you may feel that everything is broken, leaving you feeling overwhelmed and alone. Like the rats in this card, you harbor the rats, so you can see them at the bottom. You harbor a deep resilience. Find this part of you as you face adversity. This time will pass. Something may have devastated your life, but trust that in time you will recover from your loss. May love hold you. And I do want to say that, um, this is happening to all of us. So you may feel more resilient and stronger in 1 minute, and you may do your thing to support somebody else in building their resilience or reminding them, and so on and so forth. I do all my work. I have people to go to if I need support, but also the resilience comes from within, and it's doing that self-care and doing things that bring you joy. And do not feel this loss and grief of sorrow if you need to switch off. It's a good time to do some digital detoxes in a way and stay out of the news for a bit. I don't watch much news at all now. I read headlines and check in with what I need to hear to understand kind of what's going on in the world. But we can no longer immerse ourselves in the things that upset us and bring us grief. But also this is happening collectively, and there's a lot of release of old grief and sorrow too. So May love hold you for this week. What a time we live in. It's going to be fun. We're going to be great. We are co-remembering. We are co-creating. And I'm trying to be here with you to support you along the way. Much love.